Hi, my name is Tom Perez, and I am the founder of the Epik Project, which is a counter-human trafficking organization based in the Portland area. We're about 10 years old, but I kind of stumbled into this um, kind of sideways. I spent 30 years as a local church pastor, loved the church, and thought that's what I would do for the rest of my days. But about 10 years ago, I started to learn about kids being trafficked, and it's tragic. But I started to learn about the fact that it was happening here in Unity, and so I had to do something. I couldn't not do something. Started out as a volunteer thing. I started getting involved in learning about the issue about exploitation here in Portland and really across the country. One thing led to another, and 10 years down the road, we have become a national organization. We have men that we have trained and support in 11 cities now across the country, doing really effective work, primarily at this point in disrupting the demand that drives sex. Disruption, it can take a bunch of different forms. What we have figured out how to do at a really large scale is post fake ads selling sex online and taking calls from buyers who think they're going to connect with a young girl. And so in that moment, we call it disrupting the online sex market at the point of sale. So at that moment, a man is trying to purchase another human being. They get myself or one of our volunteers, which leads to fascinating, very disruptive conversations. They're scripted, they're vetted by both survivors of trafficking themselves, by law enforcement, by even by attorneys, to make sure that what we're saying is truthful, factual, accurate. But we're training men how to talk to other men about what this behavior is doing to their community. In these conversations with sex buyers, one of the things that we try to do, really the main thing we try to do, is bust some of the persistent myths that lead them to think that this is okay. And one of them is the myth that nobody sees what they're doing, that they're kind of invisible. And so we will say to them something along the lines of, your phone number has been captured and maybe made available to law enforcement. And right there, the myth of invisibility kind of gets blown up. And if we can get that much out in the conversation with the buyer, we generally have a pretty decent window of time to continue the conversation and to talk to them about some of the other myths that they've probably bought into at that point. We're developing a lot of other programs at this point to engage men, but one of the things we have coming December 1st is Epik Journey. And it's a fundraising event for the work that Epik does, but it's also kind of an immersive experience for people who want to get a sense of what this world feels like. And so what we do is we literally take a walk down 82nd Avenue in Portland. It's not the only, but it's one of the most notorious stretches of road where a lot of street level trafficking and prostitution takes place. And we do this in solidarity with several women, local women, who have become our friends and mentors, who are survivors of trafficking. And we actually have them come with us and kind of guide us down this stretch of road and tell us their story. It's a great way to see, to hear, even sometimes to kind of smell the reality of this world for someone who's on the victim end of it.
I'd like to just say thanks to the church for your interest in it, but actually for going further than that, and just for supporting this work, for caring about it. I really believe that being involved in this work is what Jesus would have his followers do, and even in the smallest ways, it really does make a difference. So we're grateful for that. I would tell you also, and I'm going to speak on behalf of the men that are doing this work, it's really dark and it can be really heavy, but knowing that there are people in communities like yours that are caring for, that are supporting, that are praying for what we're doing, it really matters, and so we're really, really grateful.